Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. I hope you enjoyed our last episode with Rachel Bloom. If you haven't heard it yet, go check it out. It's amazing. Again, the extended version is on patreon.com/howcome. And so is this one. If you want to see it with video, we are talking today to Dr. Tara. You might know her from TikTok. She is iconic. She is a Los Angeles-based sex and relationship coach, tenured professor of sexual communication, award-winning sex researcher, TEDx speaker, TV host of Celebs Go Dating, and the #1 sex educator on TikTok. Her sexpertise has been featured in Women's Health, Cosmopolitan, Refinery 29, Pop Sugar, Bustle, and so much more. And she is amazing. Amazing. Today we are talking about sexual confidence and how to achieve it, sexual meditation, loving your body, affirmations you can say to yourself, sex therapy and when you need to go to it, and different types of sex therapy, and so many stories of Dr. Tara's first times. Many first times, because she's had many different types of orgasms. This is the first episode we're hearing about a cervical orgasm. So strap in, get excited. This episode, it's a blast.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Welcome, Dr. Tara.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited to be here and also to get to know you because I love your
Same.
work and
Thank you. Likewise.
yeah.
Can you explain your work to anybody who's not familiar with you yet?
Yes. So hi everybody who's not familiar with me yet.
The three
I
people
wear-
who don't know you.
I wear 3 hats. First, I am a tenured professor of sexual communication at Cal State Fullerton. It's right here in Orange County. I live in LA, so the commute is a little achy,
long.
but
Yeah.
yeah, a little achy, but love it. Love my job. Love my students. My second hat is I have a private practice here in downtown Los Angeles, and I do sex and relationship coaching. And then my third hat is a sex positive media person. So I do media segments, news segments, and I was recently on a TV show as a co-host and a sex expert. A TV show called Celebs Go Dating.
Celebs Go Dating.
Celebrities be dating.
Our friend Alec Alphys was on that show. Were you
Oh my
on it when he was
gosh.
on it?
No. So this season
Okay.
we had
It
6
was years
celebrities.
ago.
No Alex. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I haven't been able to watch Celebs Go Dating because it doesn't air here, but I remember
Yeah.
when he was going on it and he was so pumped.
Oh yeah. Did you get
So
a date?
you kind of help them date like normal people.
Yes.
Oh my god,
Yes.
wait, is this a Channel 4 show?
Yeah.
Can I get it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's sick. I know what I'm gonna watch tonight.
Ooh yeah.
I was looking into it and I was like, some of this sounds familiar, and then Channel 4.
A lot of Love Islanders have been on it.
Because
A
you
lot
know
of Made in
they're
Chelsea people.
professional lovers.
That was
Right, but they don't know how to love, and that's where you come in.
I'm like, hello, it's me, Dr. Tara, and here's my orgasm smoothie.
How did you get started in working in sex, in education, and all of that?
So I'm originally from Thailand.
Mhm.
Shout out to Thai food.
Mm.
Gonna get it for lunch right after this. I'm originally from Thailand. I grew up in my opinion, a very sexually repressed environment. I
Yeah.
went to an all-girls Catholic school on top of being in Thailand.
Sure.
So I
Classic.
experienced very classic. A lot of us that are in the sex party scene have been to Catholic school, so you can figure out the correlation there. But growing up, I've always experienced a lot of this feeling of am I a slut? Why am I so different? I'm so curious about sexuality and body parts and men and women. And
Yeah.
at the time, just didn't know what was up. So fast forward to me going to high school in Finland. That was the first time I saw genitals in a non-sexual way. Because in Finland, they just fucking get naked and go into saunas together. They don't care.
Okay, cool.
You know, they don't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sexualize body parts. They're like very body neutral.
I'm just imagining you like getting off the plane in Finland and there's like penises.
That's what I'm thinking. They were
Directly.
just everywhere.
Like I was picked up from the airport and then I directly went to the sauna.
I'm going through baggage claim. There's
Yeah.
dicks and boobs.
It's really hot in here.
Yeah, like all Finnish guys, like come on in. But yeah, so that was like my exposure to the different cultures and how they approach nudity and sexuality and all that.
Yeah.
Then I moved to America, like moved to Los Angeles. One can say one of the most like sexual places in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So through all of these personal experiences, I learned that I was like really interested in human sexuality and just dating and relationships. Because later in my graduate school career, I read a paper that said one issue that every single person will experience at some point in their lifetime is a sex issue.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was there, and I'm sure we have all had a sex issue and will have some sort of sex issue in the future.
Sure.
So I wanted to contribute to a solution to a big global problem. And so then I
Yeah.
started studying like romantic relationships. And at the time everything I studied was kind of infused to like with like what I was in during the time. So I started studying like long distance relationships and what predicts success in long distance relationships. I published that study, and a lot of people were interested in what I was talking about. And then I started studying more and more personal relationships and intimacy. And so then a few years ago, I was writing my now published textbook with two other professors. I also started studying what predicts long-term sexual satisfaction, because at the time I was entering a new relationship, and I'm like, okay, I have always experienced sexual dissatisfaction in all my previous relationships at some point in the relationship. Usually after like a year, I then start experiencing relationship like sexual dissatisfaction. And I'm like, okay, is something wrong with me? Something wrong with the
We were just talking about that recently, how people are like, oh, well, if it's not, you know, hot and heavy after a bit, like you feel like the relationship's not doing well.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, so then I was inspired to study, okay, what are some of the like personal interpersonal variables that predict sexual satisfaction in a long-term relationship? Because I want that for myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, like anything I study is kind of selfish. Like I want that for myself.
Yeah. No, I literally started this podcast out of selfishness.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, I never came. I'm going to go through this journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So similarly, I was like, okay, I was not satisfied sexually in all these relationships once it hits like a year and a half. What's wrong? And so, yeah, I started studying that, and it just kind of became a thing. Then I started my social media and it blew up.
Yeah. And you have like, if people don't know you from TikTok, go check out Dr. Tara's TikTok. It is very informative, but it is also very sexy. Has that ever been like a source of weirdness for anybody that you're currently teaching? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but I don't know for a fact. But I don't think so, because I've done it now a couple of years, and you know, I always teach like 4 sections every semester, and I actually even made content with my students. There's there's a lot of pieces of content on TikTok that was like me kind of going around like, what's sex positivity? And then I ask them, or like, would you eat ass? And then I go around and ask them. And so, yeah, like I include anyone that want to be included on my content. And if they don't want to, it's like after class activity. If they don't want to, they go home. If they want to, they just stick around and like we make content together.
Content requires consent as well.
Yes, yes, 100%. You know, I learned that the hard way, because I was talking to an actor who's, okay, like let's be real, not like a super actor. You know what I mean. And I was talking about sex, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get like my assistant was recording us talking about sex, and you know, because he is known for kind of talking about sex, so I thought it was gonna be okay. I posted it, and his team reached out and was like, can you take that down immediately?
That down. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just realized like, oh shit, that's right. I must always ask people up front if I can record them.
I mean, that's why we do our like, you can edit anything out thing, because
Yeah.
we're just like, ugh.
Even sometimes the sex educators and the people that have written like books or whatever come on and they don't want to talk about their own personal experiences. And you would like naturally assume that that's what they talk about. So maybe they'd be open.
Which is valid too.
Yeah.
But I controversially, I'm against that, because I only want to listen to the people that, to me, live sexually empowering lives authentically, where you're not afraid to talk about yourself and your sex life. Because I think that takes so much courage. To me, studying a topic takes dedication, but not so much courage.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to hear from people that are, in my opinion, courageous and is living the life authentically the way I want to live. So in a way, everyone's like micro role models to me. And when I talk to someone, I'm like, that's why I love your podcast. I love when you came on like a couple of years ago about like, I never came. Actually, it's more than that. It's like more than a couple of years ago.
6 years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. I remember the article about you and everything. And so I was like, yeah, like I love this. I love authenticity and just being able to talk about our real experiences, because studies are just studies.
Yeah, no, there is part of me that I'm like, okay, I get it. Like you're a doctor, like you don't want people, I don't know, visualizing you doing something. But then there's something that I'm like, wait, but like, are you embarrassed? Like, is there a part of you that is ashamed of your own sex life?
I feel like if you're trying to normalize it, wouldn't that start with like talking about yours and like setting an example that it is like a normal conversation to have?
That would be my opinion. But then everyone's different. I can respect their choice. Like everyone has a choice. I mean, not everyone nowadays. Fuck. But for them, they have a choice and they chose this for their career, which I can respect that. However, it doesn't mean I have to listen to them.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily, if I'm going to a sex therapist, I don't necessarily want them being like, well, I had a fucking amazing rim job this morning. But
or maybe you do, or
maybe some people do.
Maybe you
but
don't
maybe
know that's what
I wouldn't be uncomfortable if they shared that like on their social. Like, you know, if we're having like a session, I'm like, this is my time. Like, leave your rim jobs out of it.
You're right.
Like, I have a therapist who I was talking about my issues the other day, and she was like, oh yeah, me too. And I was like, shut up. Like, I don't care.
You're not allowed.
Like, I paid for this. You didn't pay for this.
Yeah. Okay. Pay me.
Paying me. Call it even for this one.
But I'm really glad that you are so open about yourself. So let's dive right in. Do you remember your first orgasm?
What kind?
Ooh, great question. Has never been asked. Has never been asked to me.
Amazing.
So, okay, are we talking about vaginal orgasms?
Should we start
Let's start with first ever, and
ever.
you can elaborate on what type it was.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the other ones.
First ever orgasm was when a girl in my middle school rubbed my clit.
Dr. Tara.
And in middle school you're horny. So
many firsts.
she was we were like talking and flirting, and we just went for ice cream, and we came back to the room and we were just like chatting, and it was at my friend's house, and she has this like really cool, her dad was loaded, so like she has a cool theater room. They like dim the lights. Like
God.
At that point I've never seen
dimmers.
I've never seen dim lights. Like I've only seen on or off, and like this room had dim lights. So they dimmed the lights, and anyways, this girl was like we started kissing. She kissed my neck, and then so I was at the time, I never had a sexual encounter at the time. So this was my first. And she started like putting her finger down there. And I mean, I was already wet because, I was a teenager.
Because you're a river.
Anything makes me wet because I'm a river. Yeah, Para means river in Thai.
Sick.
Love a river. Always wet.
And she started kind of just playing with my clit and, just touching it like really softly and kind of rubbing it up and down. And I just remember like coming.
Oh my God.
And I didn't know at the time that was coming, but it was so hot. And And yeah, and we didn't even date afterwards. Like that was just it, and that was it. And we went to get ice cream one more time, but we didn't end up dating.
Oh my God. I like people talk about love bombing. She just like cum bombed you. She was like,
Yeah.
here's some ice
Yeah.
cream and some other cream.
Enjoy
Yeah.
this. I'm gonna scoot.
See ya.
Which I was fine with because like at the time my eyes were everywhere. I was like, oh my God, you're hot, you're hot, you're hot. But like it's probably just my hormones talking.
And what age is middle school?
13.
13. Okay. I think middle school for
Yeah,
us,
I
I'm
went to the
thinking
wrong
like
middle school.
10,
If you went to
11.
an all
No,
girls,
I was thinking 12, 13.
yeah, all girls Catholic school, there's a lot of rubbing going.
Mhm. And so after that experience, did you try to do it yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And was it successful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I was rubbing myself since I was probably 11, but I just didn't know that was quote unquote masturbation.
Mhm.
But in Thailand, we have bidets. And I was using a bidet since I was young. But then once I like hit puberty, the bidet started giving me feelings, like some different types of
Yeah.
feels. And you know, when you're just a child, you use a bidet, you don't think about that. But when you're like 11,
You're like
you use a
adjusting the
bidet, you're
setting
like,
to the front.
yeah,
to the
exactly.
front.
I was like, oh, it
It
feels
doesn't
like
go far enough forward.
you
No,
have to move
sometimes
your
you
ass.
have to like move your ass
You have
back.
to move your ass
Yeah,
back.
you're like fully like lying.
I definitely
changing the
move my ass
position.
back and try to like squat a little bit. So yeah, like I was kind of doing that already, but I don't remember like actually coming from it though. I don't think I
Mhm.
like squat there long enough, but it did feel good.
Yeah.
So after this experience, then I tried to like use my fingers and rub myself, which like worked. And that was my first time like having an orgasm.
That's amazing. Yeah. And also probably she was doing it for long enough because she knew what the goal was. Like, I feel like that happens with a lot of people that are just like diddling, is they're like, okay, this feels good, but I'm not even sure that there is something that's supposed to come from this.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's what's
I'm
supposed
supposed
to
to
come from this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know she was a grade higher than me, and apparently more experienced. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was my first time coming, and it was really, really nice. I still think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, and
That's
I don't
sick,
think
yeah.
that we've ever heard a first time like that on this podcast in
Nice.
200 episodes. So
Yeah.
today is a
Congrats.
first timer.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay, so then you've had other types of orgasms. What was the next type after that?
So after that, I have then consistently had clitoral orgasms. Because then I knew after that, and a couple times by myself, I knew like how to touch it. And even when I was like late teen, even though I wasn't good at sexual communication yet, I would like lead my partner's hand and like,
Nice.
here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. So I then was consistently getting that. You know what I didn't get until late 20s was vaginal orgasm. And never came from it, and also learned from a lot of statistics that's very normal.
Yeah.
That most women haven't had vaginal orgasm until like in their late 20s, some even in their 30s, some never had still, even later in life. So yeah, I think I then had vaginal orgasm, which to me honestly wasn't as memorable as my first time ever
Yeah.
experiencing that like clitoral orgasm, which is like a huge rush.
Yeah, they're different types.
Yeah, different types. So this was good. It was internal. I was riding and I'm like, oh shit, this feels different. But the huge factor that was different at that time was this first time. I mean, he was, you know, he went down on me, like my clit for a long time, was like massaging my whole pubic area, my ass. I was feeling it. And then I came from there first, which makes my whole system already like tingling. Then I got on top, was riding him. And I was like, oh shit, this does feel different this time. And so I also grabbed a vibrator and put it on my clit while I was riding him. And before I come from clitoral, I actually edge and I pull it off. And then I kept riding. And then that like combo orgasm happened, which is like my like vaginal / like clitoral stimulation.
Right.
So yeah. So that was the first time I had vaginal orgasm.
That's amazing. Wait, how did you, why, not how did you, but why did you decide to edge?
Yeah. So I was watching a lot of porn at the time. And sometimes I just click through different things, which I think a lot of people have done, where I just got to this like page where they were talking about how if you just don't come, when you finally come, it's so much more powerful. And it was like a preset interview with like this woman who was gonna get fingered by 3 men. So I was like, oh shit. So this porn star, you know how like they do preset interview where you sit on the couch and she will like talk about what's gonna happen?
I wish I did. No, I don't.
Yeah, no, this is blowing my mind right now. Not gonna lie.
So in porn, that's, I don't know if I can say ethical porn, but in somewhat ethical porn, they have actors sit down on a couch and talk about what's going to happen first, like what their intentions are,
like a pre-game interview for athletes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, going over the brief.
Yes, so there's that first, and so I remember watching that, and I was like, oh wow, she said, you know, I'll hold on, and I'm actually not gonna come, and then I'll let it go. But then in that video, she got fingered by 3 people and then she squirted like big time. So I didn't squirt, but that was the inspiration to me, like trying to almost come and then don't.
That's smart.
But then I came vaginally because again, like it's all the same system.
Right, exactly. Like it's vaginally, but it's the back of your clit.
Yeah, which was amazing. So that was my vaginal like orgasm. And like, I mean, the partner wasn't even like doing much. It was like all just me, which I always talk about how like sexual satisfaction is like 70% you, 30% your partner.
Yeah, I think that's why people like they get so like kind of offended if you're saying like, oh, my sex life is not necessarily amazing right now, because they think, oh, well, you're insulting your partner. And it's like, not necessarily. Like I could be doing something wrong. And most of the time, like you are doing something wrong. Maybe it's like your sexual confidence that's lacking, that like they could be doing everything right, but like your inhibitions are just not allowing you to get to that place.
That is 100% correct. And I would say actually that's the answer to most people's sexual dissatisfaction.
Is finding sexual confidence.
Well, do you like squirting?
I have a weird relationship with it now because we've been talking about the fact that it's been really difficult for me to come in the last year, but it's still easy for me to squirt. And I used to be like, oh, like this is fun. Like it comes in tandem with an orgasm. And now I'm like, okay, like it's got cleanup and no big feeling behind it. But then on the flip side, I'm also like, okay, well, this is fun that I know that I'm not like totally broken.
You are not broken.
Thank you.
Regardless, I do think that for some people, there is like a deeper desire to experience like deep vaginal orgasm or the C-gasm, like like cervix orgasm.
Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah. With my current partner, I have experimented like with many different things, like sexual acts and toys and different positions, and also like talking about different things. So I think with this experimentation with him, I was able to try everything and also had the quote unquote permission to like not come sometimes, or sometimes making a sexual encounter just like a study. And you know, without like he's just there. Like he's there to facilitate this happening. And he's good at like receiving feedback and do what I say. So so I've just been exploring a lot of things, and this is where the 30% comes in to me, is I have never had a partner that was down to just like be used for sex experimentation.
Yeah.
You know, because sex, like, especially if you have sex with men, it's always kind of like, okay, when do I come? Like, when do I get to come? Versus like my partner doesn't care if he comes or not, as long as I get like whatever I'm trying to do.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyways, the squirting orgasm, I wanted to talk about that because I've only learned how to squirt like through just different experimentations only a few years ago. So that's why I think for me, it's still like, it's not like a tiring act yet. Like to me, it's still like super, super fun and
new.
And it comes with, with also like my whole vaginal orgasm. My whole vaginal orgasm, because I squirt from getting fingered and fingering like my G zone. So to me, squirting orgasm is coming.
Yeah.
So I still very much love it.
No, for some people, I think it can be such real. I just have this complicated thing with it. But can I ask you more about the cervical orgasm?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because that's something I literally just learned about this year. 6 years in, just learned about a cervical orgasm. How did you make that happen for you? And what are like what's the science behind it? Is it also a clitoral orgasm somehow?
I would say they're all clitoral orgasms.
Okay.
Because the clit is huge, right? In the back end. So, but to me, it's a combination of like stimulating the cervix area. And also because whether or not you use a strap on or a penis, you still rub the G zone as you go in. So to me, it's almost like stimulating the whole system, while incorporating deep static movements. So when I had C orgasm was when I actually sat on the dick and move it slightly back and forth in slow motion, and was also, my nipples were also stimulated at the time, so I was just all horny, and then with that like penis up, and you know, you sit on it and the tip can kind of rub that area. It was really helping me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost there. And the first time it was kind of deep, and it feels different from regular like clitoral orgasm. It feels kind of like, it's in your tummy.
Okay.
Yeah. So it feels great. I don't think it's like, oh my God, you know, my life is ruined if I've never had this.
Yeah.
Because I still think one of the most still like delicious things ever is clitoral orgasm.
Like an external.
Yeah. I still think that's always like, you know, it's like chocolate chip cookie. It's always good.
Yeah. How far up is the cervix? Like how deep do you have to go to hit that spot?
Wow, it just depends on the woman and her physique, really, truly, because some cervix can be lower, some like has a much longer and deeper vaginal canal. You wouldn't know until you do like ultrasound. When you go get your pap smear or like go to your gyno, some will get like ultrasound, and then you'll know.
Be like, can you measure my cervix so I can have a certain kind of orgasm? Thank you.
Oh yeah. Totally. Let's normalize that. Sharing our cervix, what is it called? Results.
Yeah, I'm going to Babeland after this. I just need to know how big the dildo needs to be.
Well, for me, it's 7 inches and solid. Like, yeah, It's there. You feel it.
And is there ever like, because I know when somebody has hit my cervix, I've been like, ow. Like most of the times I find that's too deep. Is that part of a cervical orgasm, is pushing through that pain, or is like it needs to be so slow that there is no pain?
I think a little bit of pain might be justified. However, it shouldn't be super painful. The thing about that is I think a lot of people will have the bam, bam, bam penetration and expect to get C orgasm. But C orgasm is more like a rubbing rather than a poking.
Got it.
So you don't want to be in and out. You want to sit there and move your hips.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's like the shaft.
Left and right. Yeah. Like
is perpendicular.
You want to massage it kind of like this. rather than like the.
You want to spell your name.
There you go.
When you're-
Spell your name.
My last name is Suinyati Chaiporn. Probably come by the time the N comes.
That's perfect.
I know that porn is like a common suffix or whatever in Thai last names, but I was like, this is so appropriate.
Yeah. Porn in Thai means a blessing.
Ah, that's unreal.
It's perfect.
It's too good.
The river of blessings.
She's the river of blessings.
Yeah, you're welcome, everybody.
So you have talked about sexual meditation.
Yeah.
And I think that seems like an interesting thing. What is sexual meditation?
Sexual meditation is like a regular meditation practice, but instead you focus on sexual thoughts, sexual feelings, and sensations in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how like you can meditate for calmness, for sleep, for focus, for clarity. Recently, I actually have been meditating and talking to my spirit babies because we're going to start trying soon.
Aww.
So it's just like there's so many different types of meditations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like athletes actually do like success meditation. You
Yeah.
know, LeBron James was talking about how he meditates and use visualization and visualizing success. So there's so many types of meditation already, and sexual meditation is a type of meditation that contributes to sexual wellness.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever personally and I know people might be getting bored of this question, but since I'm going through a difficult orgasm slump-esque time, have you ever gone through one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you get out of it and how long was it?
Let me think about the last time.
Also, I'm already feeling really good that you said yes, because I'm like, okay, she can do so
Yes.
much, and even she has had this happen.
Yeah, completely normal. Okay, I think at the time, the last time that I can have in my memory was when I was going up for tenure, and it was very stressful because there was a lot of uncertainty in my life. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get it. I was working towards a lot of like publishing and trying to get tenure as a professor. So during those months, a couple of months in my life, I was just like, my focus was to get this accomplishment. And so I wasn't so much focusing on like pleasure and other things and taking care of my body, which looking back, I do think there was time for both, but I just wasn't doing that. Anyways, it took me a couple of months, and I think what helped me, which I'm not sure how helpful this is for you, because I don't know, are you like stressing out about certain things in your life right now?
Yes. And
there you go.
I mean,
okay.
It's even nice to hear that, because I'm like, okay, there is like a reason for this. It's not like...
Yeah. And the scientific reason behind something like this is that there is higher level of your stable cortisol. So cortisol is a stress hormone, and it's like the opposite of wanting to come and have sex and pleasure. So when we all have cortisol daily, like when we drive and there's fucking traffic, there's cortisol like spiked, or we like talk to certain family members, like cortisol spike. But when you have a higher overall level of daily cortisol, you can't come. You just can't.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my situation where I was so focused on something and I was stressed out about it. And it was kind of like a daily thing because I was waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
I just couldn't come.
Okay. And then did you use sexual meditation to get out of that, or?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the time, I was doing sexual meditation already. But what I would do is like, I'd do sexual meditation, but then I'd think about other things. I'd think about, should I reach out to a co-author to have them like send me a letter recommendation? Or I would be like, if my email starts like dinging, then I'm like, oh, I'm going to check that email. So I wasn't wholeheartedly doing it, which did not help. So after a few months, and the conclusion of this stressful moment was I got tenure. So then I was feeling really good and confident about myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we all know like sexual confidence is one of the reasons why we come. So at the time, after this happened, I was feeling good about myself. I'm a fucking boss. Like I have all the confidence in my normal life. Therefore, that transfers into my sex life. I was doing sexual meditation in a more like wholeheartedly. So for sexual meditation, you can do it by yourself quietly. You can choose to think of a certain sexual thought. So like maybe a memory of like a hot, passionate sexual encounter. You can also just use imagination of having sex with anyone in the world, which is like what I like to do. It's fun. And
anyone dead or alive?
Dead or alive. Aliens, like anything. You can also do like focusing on sensations instead. So not think about anything and like massage your nipples, massage your pubic area, and like just focus on that one thing. And it can just be as short as like 5 minutes. If you want a guide, I have free guided sexual meditation on YouTube, which you can just listen to me and follow my lead. There's a 5-minute one, a 10-minute one for solo, one for partners. And yeah, it helped me. That's why I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this out there, and whoever want to watch it, watch it. You want to do it quietly, do it quietly. But yeah, it's on YouTube, Love Bites by Dr. Tara, and you just choose one that fits your needs.
That's so great. And was that like a term that existed, or is it something that you kind of came up with yourself?
I think I popularize it because I talk about it everywhere. But the sexuality research community came up with it. It's sexual meditation is within sexual mindfulness-based therapy. So mindfulness-based therapy, MBT, is common in treating different types of symptoms like anxiety, depression, all kinds of things, ADHD. But throwing in like a sexual context, there's lots of research for the last 10 years that shows how it improves sexual functioning. I'm surprised that it's not everywhere, but I know why. Pharmaceutical. You know, it's shown in all of these experiments. And for those of you that are kind of like sex nerds, you can go to Google Scholar and search sexual mindfulness therapy.
We've got a lot of sex nerds.
Yeah, you'll find all these studies that show how it improves sexual functioning, sexual desire, arousal system. Even for people who have had like cancer. There was a study of people who had cancer who enroll in this study to do the 2 weeks or 4 weeks sexual meditation therapy. And they almost all of them reported that their sexual functioning was better. So there's a lot of proof that it's great for you. And, you know, that's why I love it. I do it daily.
Yeah. And the thing about meditation, I feel like whenever I've done meditation, it's pushing thoughts out of your head. But this is pushing thoughts that don't pertain to sex out and then allowing the sexual ones in. Yeah. How do you, because sometimes if I am trying to visualize something like super sexy or whatever, like I will self-judge a lot.
Tell me more.
Like, okay. Sometimes it'll be...
This is therapy.
I know, we're doing therapy now. Sometimes it'll be a person who you're not necessarily supposed to be attracted to, like somebody from your past who like fucked you up. Somebody who is off limits for whatever reason, you know, and then you start judging that aspect and being like,
thinking about them and then being like,
why am I having this fantasy? Yeah. And I have had, like, my therapist has been like, don't judge your fantasies, but that's, I think, much easier said than done. So how would you tell people to go about that aspect of a meditation or even a fantasy?
Yes. So first off, fantasies are neutral. Humans are so imaginative. Look at all the movies that exist. Has anyone seen Midsummer? Like,
yeah,
a human imagination is fucking crazy. You can come up with so many different creepy ass stories. And do you think that these like directors and producers want to go and jump off a cliff and kill themselves when they're 50?
Yeah,
no. That was about Midsummer. So to use the same logic, you can think about so many things sexually, doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just neutral. Thoughts come to your head all the time. One of my clients, who's an older female lawyer, will do like sexual meditation. And she's like, you know what I thought of first thing was pegging Donald Trump.
Hilarious.
And she's like, God, am I a sick fuck or what? And I'm like, not at all. I'm sure lots of people have thought about that. And the fact is like that people think, oh, you think about something that means something. Hell no, we're humans. Like we have fucking random thoughts all the time, and it doesn't mean anything unless you're obsessed over a certain thought.
Right.
Which you should probably work on it. So if you are obsessing over this ex who was toxic, then you still have like a bond with them.
Oh, it's all of them. I will swap anybody I've ever been with in, and every time I'm like, don't. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, I think thinking about a sexual encounter in the past that was passionate and hot is totally fine and is in no way attached to the quality of that relationship. So I think doing work outside of that could help. So like when you journal, do you journal?
No, but I need to. I used to keep such stringent diaries, and now I just never do.
I mean, journaling is great for you. There's a lot of research in positive psychology that it helps you regulate like your thoughts and actually regulate like shame. So what you can do is write down some of these like shameful thoughts that you have, and then like cross it out with your pen, or just pull it out and burn it, or like just crumble it and put it in the trash.
I would never want to crumble it though, because I'm like, my work.
Then you can just cross out these shame and just be like, yeah, fuck this. You know, I don't need this in my life, but I can still think about that dick.
For sure.
Yeah, the experience was still good. The person may not have been.
Yeah.
No.
Quality of relationship has like nothing to do with imagination.
Right. Because you're not even like, I would never get back together with any of these people, but it's just kind of like a nice trip down memory lane until like my brain stops it. And then it's like, what does this mean?
Remember when?
Are you dating someone right now?
Yes. We've been together for like 8 years.
And how is that going?
It's going well. He's so sweet. He's always down.
I love that the first two things that you said was he's so sweet and he's always down.
He's always down.
You summed up him perfectly there.
I don't know this guy, but I know this guy.
Yeah.
I had a friend the other day be like, oh, do you think the reason why you're struggling with orgasms lately is because you and Ben don't have sex a lot? And I'm like, what makes you say that? Like, we do, you know? And she was just like, oh, I just assumed because you're in such like a long-term relationship, you guys don't do that anymore. I'm like, oh no, we have sex like a good amount.
And also quality over quantity anytime.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can have shitty sex daily and it sucks, especially for women.
Yeah, no. And the sex is not shitty. It's fun.
Nice.
We have a new thing where we do it quick and quiet just because.
This sounds taboo. Do you do it like in church?
No, but it was in somebody else's apartment the first time. And we're just like very like horny. And I was just like, do you want to like have sex? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, we have to do it quick and quiet.
Oh, that's hot.
And like we both made no sound the entire time. Like we basically, the motions were so slow so that the bed wouldn't move or anything like that. And it was like unreal. And then the next time we were in like my house and nobody was home, I was like, let's do it quick and quiet. Just because I was like, it's fun.
It is fun. Now that I think about it, like I think the element of like don't want to be found out has always been a turn on to me.
Yeah.
Do you do outdoor sex? Like
we have
random?
Not in
sex?
a while, but there was one bus stop that got christened.
You said not in the wild.
Not in the wild. We don't want to get ticks. But yeah, there was a bus stop that we were just like, oh my God, that bus ride was so bumpy. We should.
A bus stop? Where do you live?
Behind,
you don't live in LA, right?
No. It was where he lives in Jersey. And like you can kind of go into kind of like this like it's like behind a rock wall, basically. So people could still see our heads if they were really looking for us.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Wait, how short is this wall? Because if they can see your head,
right,
it's like
they could
5
see his
foot,
head,
but
not
if
my
they can see
head.
Ben, that's 6. Okay, yeah. Because then they're seeing all.
No,
of
So
it.
they just see him going.
Yeah.
He's just like nodding.
Okay, so we've done some minor therapy for me here today, but you do this with a bunch of people. How does sex therapy usually go for anybody who's like curious about starting it? Like, what is the first session like, and how reticent are people to start sex therapy?
So I first want to describe 2 different ideas of therapy. So there's therapy that's working through your past trauma. If you had sexual assault trauma or anything like that, there's like a certain type of therapy that people do. And I don't necessarily provide that type of therapy, but I can recommend to so many providers because you need different set of tools in order to access memories like that. And it's very fragile. So you have to work through those like sexual assault issues, like memories, with a provider that's good at that. So there's that type of therapy. And then the type that I do is more future oriented. So we talk about now, like what are some of the issues now? What are some of the things that you're good at now? And then where do you want to go? What are your desired outcomes? In 5 years, what is an amazing sex life to you? And then we work towards a protocol to get there. So each week or 2 weeks or a month, depending on how much they come back to me, some of them come back weekly, some of them come back once a month. Then we create like a protocol. Okay, like this next week or two, you're going to try this. And the success of this type of therapy depends on whether or not you commit to what you're supposed to do. So if the protocol is, okay, the next month, you're going to try at least 3 to 5 sessions of extended solo pleasure where you don't come, which means you're just playing with sensories and you try to disassociate with your brain that you must orgasm. And so it will be something like that. If it's like with couples, which half of my clients are couples where they want to check in once a month with a sex therapist to see like, hey, like, how are we doing? Can you facilitate a discussion about something else? If they want to try like threesomes, or like if it's a heterosexual couple, the last like couple of people that I've worked with have been women wanting to try something, just don't know how to like talk about it with their husbands. So then they come over and they're like, hey, so I've been thinking about no, but you know what? I'm not sure. And I'm totally okay not doing it. But yeah.
You're like, it sounds like you really want to do that.
They are sure.
Yeah.
But then I facilitate that discussion of like, okay, it sounds like, and then I interpret it in my own way. So it's not like it's nobody's idea, it's mine. And then, I just kind of help them navigate conversations about new sexual exploration from there.
And so do you think anybody with a history of any type of sexual trauma should go to a specialist like that? Like even if they think they're over it?
100%.
Okay.
If there was like a substantial traumatic event that had happened in your life early on, you should 100% see a trauma specialist sex therapist. That will help you a lot in processing those moments. But if you've already worked on it with a therapist and you feel like, yes, I now have an interpretation of it in a way that's empowering to me, then feel free to go ahead and kind of work with more future forward therapists and coaches, and more, maybe you're interested in kinks. You can go to kink informed therapists because it's like different modules, you know. The trauma-based therapist is most likely not going to be great at like walking you through like trying an impact kink or like a mommy baby kink or so you just kind of go to different people based on what they're great at.
And you could graduate. Like you could graduate to your trauma person and then be like, okay, cool, a lot of this has been put to bed, or like I feel safe with myself and those memories, they're not gone, but we've worked through them.
Yeah.
So then you could level up to a future-based sex therapist.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was going to say, for like my kind of life and me making sense of my like family and stuff, I first worked with a therapist through like my relationship with my mom and, you know, how I grew up. And when I felt like, okay, now I'm comfortable with the fact that this happened in my life, and it wasn't sexual trauma, but it was more like how I associate success with like certain things, like external validation. So once I worked with a therapist, and then at some point I feel like it becomes very static. Like I just show up and she's like, okay, how are you feeling? Like, then I know like that I'm not learning anymore from it. Then now my favorite life coach, I work with her every month, and we work more about like my tools of keeping me well balanced and happy as a busy woman. So yeah, like I kind of go from there too.
Yeah. And do you have benchmarks with your clients? Like this podcast where it's like, okay, you have an assignment this week, then you check in the next week?
Yeah. So it depends on, because people get so busy and sexual wellness is almost like some of the last things they prioritize. So sometimes we will coach for like 2-3 weeks and then they disappear. And then, 5 months they come back. Then I would say, well, then we need to like redo everything. I need to know now, what are you guys up to? And we need to redo the protocol, like, because you can't just like come back and continue, because things are different. People are different. Maybe a traumatic thing had happened during the 5 months. I don't know. So for me, a benchmark for couples that come back regularly would be like, okay, they did this. How did they feel? I assess it based on like their outcome. If they were like, yeah, I feel like it didn't help me in any way, just it was okay, then I know, okay, this type of protocol is not necessarily bringing them to the sexual goals that they have, then we change protocols. And then I kind of just assess from there.
And I kind of want to wrap up with sexual confidence, just because that's where we started. How do you achieve sexual confidence?
It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
So in a way, you can achieve it at a certain level, but then you will always have to maintain. It's kind of like exercise, right? Like, you can exercise, achieve whatever your goals are, but then you still have to exercise weekly. So it's kind of the same thing where when you feel sexually confident is when you have in a subjective way, like when you have great sex. And only you can tell, because everyone's great sex is different. So if you have an incredible sexual encounter where you are able to stay like in touch, it's very passionate, you experience orgasm. These are just some of the common benchmarks. And you're having great sex, that means you probably bring in your own sexual confidence within this encounter. Now, sexual meditation, where you can visualize a vibrant sexual life and can help maintain this type of sexual confidence in a long run. So that's why, I do sexual meditation every day because it's just 5 minutes. And and before bed, I might do like a calm one. Or if I have like an interview, I might do like a success one. But I'm a big fan of just slowing down for 5 minutes and breathe.
I love that. I think that might be the assignment for this week for me and anybody else who's listening, is one of those meditations on your website that you talked about. And then you also have a great podcast, and you did an episode with your husband where he talks about how you becoming more sexually confident inspired him to do it himself. What were the main changes that you noticed within yourself and then within him?
Oh my gosh, so much. But the main ones, I would say, first off, we are so much more open-minded in communicating about our desires than before. Second, I would say my partner has been amazing at receiving feedback. I have dated so many people that get offended by feedback, even though the feedback is for us to have a better sex life.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the MO for a lot of people, is like, oh, you're attacking me, which is like, no. And I think me being a sexually confident woman helps my partner feel like, okay, she got this. I want to be like that. And when she gives me advice, I want to take it. Right. So he's able to process feedback and implement it in our sex life, which is like huge. That's a huge change. And then I would say thirdly would be like our open-mindedness to try non-traditional things, which I have never been able to try with previous partners.
See, and like, I think a lot of people, again, they would be like, oh, you're like giving me tips because I'm not good enough. And it's like, no, I'm giving you tips because I give a fuck and I want to have a better time with you.
100%. Like, I love receiving tips.
Yeah.
If my partner is like, oh, can you go slower? Or like, give me any kind of feedback. Like, hey, babe, I'd love a hand job one more time during the week. Love it. Tell me. Which comes from like an overall, how much do you trust your partner? As long as I know that it's for our sexual wellness, I'll do it.
Yeah, and everybody will have so much more fun.
Yeah. True sexual liberation is sexual communication. If you feel too ashamed to bring things up, it's probably that you don't have true freedom within that relationship.
And that's something to work on with your partner or with a sex therapist or both.
There you go. Yes.
Oh, this has really flown by. I'm so sad. But I want to ask one more thing. What are a few affirmations people could use to empower themselves if they are not feeling super empowered yet?
I have a long list of different sexual empowerment, like affirmations within the sexual meditations. If you want to try them, I also have an ebook where I guide you through like 30 days of exercises that you can do for your own sexual self-empowerment. And that includes a lot of affirmations. So you can check that out as well.
Okay, cool.
Now, my favorite 3 affirmations that are simple are like, I am a sexual being, because a lot of people just forget that. I am a sexual being. I am a sexual being. The second one is, I am a generous lover, because when you're in a long-term relationship, you may feel like sex is transactional, and you don't want to feel like that, because giving is almost as good as receiving. So I am a generous lover, and I love my body. I love my body is very important. A lot of people don't have good sex because they hate their bodies.
Yeah.
So I love my body. Yeah, these are the simple ones that I find effective.
I love that. Dr. Tara, I wish I could keep you for much longer. Maybe we'll have you back because I have so many more questions. Would you be willing to come back?
I'd love to come back.
Yay, come again and again and again.
I'll come anytime.
Where can everybody find you online?
Yes. So my website, my Instagram, and my TikTok is lovebites.co. That's LUVBITES.co.
Perfect. I have to ask this question after a sexual experience, which this really has been. Dr. Tara, did you finish?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for coming.
I came multiple times.
I love it. If you like this episode or any of our episodes, please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. And if you have any questions, you can follow me or follow How Come Podcast and DM us. We are always open in the DMs and looking forward to your stories or sexual questions. Thank you so much for coming. And you guys, will see you next time on How Come. Bye.
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 It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help, 'cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just...
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was so fun. And
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, I guess I need therapy.
I mean, come to me anytime.
More therapy. No, honestly, I might hit you up because that was one of my assignments from another person. And I was like, I'm in regular therapy, but I feel like, one, I hate that therapist. I told her she talks about herself way too much. And I think it needs to be more sex-based.
Yeah. You know, what I had learned for myself as well in my 20s is most therapists don't even have sex. So why would I talk about my sex issues with people that don't live the sex life that I want?
Facts.
Yeah.